All right, welcome back once again, everyone, to Groups Round 2 with Ewfish versus Market Mayhem. And we're going to be starting off on Splat Zone's MakoMart, but before we get too ahead of ourselves, we got me again, once here again, Omazon, and we have Marshy again. So, um, yeah, how we doing again today?
I'm doing well, just getting into the momentum of the games that were being shown today, really just riding out the waves, the unpredictabilities.
No, for sure, for sure. So in this Ewfish versus Market Mayhem set, what I did want to highlight is we kind of have an interesting dynamic between these two teams where you have Ewfish, who's kind of like an LSL classic team. They've been around since October 2020. I remember all the way back when, even doing like scrimmages against them, and it's been a while since I've talked to them, so might maybe have to circle back around on that. But Ewfish being, once again, that classic LSL team. They've appeared in a few LSL invitationals, if I recall correctly. And yeah, they've just been around for a while and probably looking to get a solid diamond bracket placement here, if I were to guess. Whereas on the other end of things, we have Market Mayhem, who in particular is actually a relatively brand new competitive team completely, where they did play in a couple all for ones, but they haven't done too much outside of that. So I think this might be their first LSL. Don't quote me on that necessarily, but um, we're kind of gonna have, sort of that old guard going up against the newbies, kind of in a sense, right? So I'm interested to see what happens here as this set will develop.
Oh yeah, and absolutely. You never know what could happen. I've seen Ewfish every now and then, like looking through like brackets and all that, throughout tournaments and the time that I have been playing competitive since 2021. So it's kind of nice being able to really commentate for them now. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. And as we can see, we are going into game one of round two.
Yeah, and we're going to be on Splat Zone's Mako, which is, if you ask me, kind of the final destination of Splatoon maps, in my humble opinion. So, going to be starting it off on hopefully some equal footing here as we see the side of Ewfish in the orange, and in the blue we have Market Mayhem. And Ewfish has a lot of kind of interesting pressure on their side. They have a double, or no, Ewfish has a brush, they have the Tri-Slosher, all stuff that's fairly close range, whereas Ewfish has a bit, Market Mayhem, my apologies, has a bit more like further ranged weapons here with the Splatana Stamper, the Pencil, and it's going to really determine, I think, how these two teams play up against each other.
Oh yeah, and absolutely. You can never really underestimate a team, even if you're looking at their comps and questioning like what the plan was, because you never know. Like they probably have worked on those comps and are really good with the weapons that they are picking today. Seeing as that brush player really is just being literally in the walls and just really popping out and getting picks when they know that they can take them out by surprise. And I absolutely love that for ink brushes.
Agreed, agreed. Ink brushes can definitely get up to some silly shenanigans, if you will. But we do see here it being kind of relatively tied up with both teams having maybe 20 to 30 points off the clock on their sides. But as I say that, Ewfish does still have a solid control of the zone. Market Mayhem's trying to get a push here happening with that Splatano Wiper kind of leading the fold there with them getting that really great Splatana push out. And as we see here, we're going to see some pressure once again coming out from Ewfish with the tri-strikes with the Zuka. And their close range here might be a little bit to their detriment depending on how they play this out, since they will have to play around a lot of the map geometry in order to get certain pushes to happen. As we see here, two already down on the side of Market Mayhem. The brush, unfortunately, going down from Ewfish. However, sort of to be expected, the brush doing brush things, so we're trying to get certain engagements to happen in their favor.
Oh yeah, I really like watching how a short-range comp can really utilize the weapons that they've decided to go for if it is a short-range comp completely, because a lot of the time shorter-range comps really try to force interactions from teams, especially if they have more range, because it means that if they're really using their noggins, they can trap the longer range weapons and really get the picks. As we can see, the Tri-Slosher taking out the pencil right there. 2 down on both ends right now from Ewfish and MakoMart, with Ewfish taking game 1 as I am speaking.
Yeah. No, and it was getting a little bit hairy there towards the end of that match as well, with Market Mayhem getting a potential zone cap on their hands. Ewfish doing a great job, though, of being able to circle back to zone, kind of hit the brakes, go in reverse real quick, like they're doing some drag race car racing, sort of, with their momentum, like really taking it away from those ledges that they were basically hugging for a lot of the latter half of that match, and meeting up once again to take out those members of Market Mayhem that slipped past them. But yeah, no, good showing from Ewfish. Once again, kind of highlighting that old guard versus relatively new team dynamic here. But I think Market Mayhem, if they take a step back and get some pushes a bit more comfortably in their hands at a tempo that they can all play a bit more comfortably around with, might be able to shut down some of Ewfish's plays due to how just close up Ewfish will typically be running a lot of these games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think when it comes to working with long range, you really need to be able to utilize the area of space that you're really taking over, making sure that if you are working with a short range weapon, or well, yet working on taking out a short range weapon, to not really let them get in to their area of range to take you out. I really think being able to utilize distance and space can be very important, but it can also be very difficult, especially if you are on a map like MakoMart, where you really have to play off of all the little nooks and crannies, the boxes. It can really dictate how the game will go if you're able to utilize what you have correctly.
Yeah, completely agreed there. Looking ahead, though, to this next match with TC Manta Maria, as you were sort of highlighting just a little bit there, um, there's a lot of kind of like different map geometry here. Some of it sort of plays out similarly in certain cases, with the stacks maybe echoing what's sort of happening with the different bunkers a little bit, but the ways that those walls will be kind of used might be a bit more in the favor of Ewfish. All it's going to take is maybe that Tri-Slosher or a similar weapon from one of their players to really get behind them and get some chaos going. But on the other side, like Market Mayhem, they could absolutely pull off a similar play in their own right. So yeah, we're going to be going up and starting out this match and checking out our comps here. Yeah, and starting this up here, we got Ewfish bringing out a backline, interestingly enough, with that bow there. So, the Wavebreaker one, in fact, as well. So, they might be looking at what Market Mayhem's putting out and being like, okay, even though we did get a pretty comfortable win on our hands, we just want to play this safe. We don't want to be too risky, not necessarily get too lost in the sauce. So I think that kind of reflects what we're already seeing from Ewfish, taking it a bit slow and steady with some of their strike pushes. The T-Tech player here trying to make something happen, unfortunately not having the backing of their team in the moment either, with them going down. And we do see 2 down from the side of Ewfish, the Nautilus down on the side of Market Mayhem, but this might provide the opening that Market Mayhem needs to get some points on the board and maybe even clear a checkpoint or 2.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And as we can see right here, the T-Tech really is going ham on getting those picks, working on the very Suedo mixed role, considering the type of weapon it is. Being a splatter shot, you can really play Slayer, but with the special that you have, you can really be supportive with your paint, your ink strikes. But if utilized, as we can see, they are able to successfully get a lot of picks from Ewfish right now, and is slowly trying to inch that power right there through the choke point, but not being too successful getting it past, as Ewfish really is respawning and coming back, so the hope that they really want is kind of being reduced in a way, because they're all respawning in the same spot of the area that they're trying to push in right now.
Yeah, for sure. And looking here, we do see Market Mayhem starting to have to hold back a little bit as Ewfish is aggressively moving up. We do see that Tri-Slosher making that earlier play I theorized they might make by pushing up on the bunk through the hut wall. And this is going to be Ewfish's opportunity to try to get a snowball push happening. Unfortunately for them, we do see them get a bit staggered there. No one's currently on the tower. The Tri-Slosher looking to maybe carry some momentum. Unfortunately, also going down from that fantastic inkjet we saw the decaf player pulling off. And this will be Market Mayhem's opportunity to get some more paint up, get some pushes going, and hopefully maybe even get that lead a bit more solidly in their favor, even though they still have roughly 11 points.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And working on adding on to that, I really think that being streamed can really show viewers what they are capable of, and I really think that Market Mayhem really wants to make that splash in the competitive community, being known. You know, I would never underestimate a new team, because you never know, like, the people who are on the team sometimes have been playing together for quite a while and decided to create a team, considering they play together so often. But as we can see here, Ewfish has taken the lead and is currently trying to hold off Market Mayhem right there in the choke point in that little nook over there, really working on picking everyone off individually of order of who's most aggressive, I guess you could say.
Yeah, completely agree there. And looking here again at the map situation, we do see that Ewfish got that push that they really were looking to get, with them going about partway through the streak and getting 45 remaining in their favor. And Market Mayhem's going to have to organize themselves here. They're going to have to take certain positions like this left flat here. We do see, I believe, the T-Tech go up onto, and they do get some important picks. They do get that Tri-Strike is no longer going to be a factor, for instance, from the Neo Splash. The backline is also just now coming out to spawn. So this might be the window of opportunity. They need to get those points on the board. And we do see them do it. They are getting more points on the board, and they're just going. They keep going. If that might get stopped here for the Tri-Slosher, we do see the Tri-Slosher get 2 down. And that might be the end of the push, but now with just under a minute left of the match, Ewfish can't let any time go to waste.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And as we can see, they have a very even, exactly 20-point difference right now on the clock, with Market Mayhem currently having the lead of the game, and Ewfish 20 points away from taking that lead. That pencil right there, just really working on getting those picks, providing coolers, but also being very careful to not get picked off at the wrong moment. Players from Ewfish right now really just trying to pressure the bunker and just get everyone located and picked off, I would say.
No, I think that's a fair assessment. And looking here, we do see 2 go down from Ewfish. Not what you want to see at this point of the match. Especially with just 10 seconds off on board. It seems like they may have had Soda, or at least had some QR maybe on their hands, so they are back fast. But that Kraken that we're seeing right here, that's going to be crucial if they want anything to happen. They do take out the T-Tech, which will be their main Tri-Striker, but on the other hand, they're also the only player of their team left up, and this is going to be a 1-to-1 situation. And like we were saying earlier, don't necessarily discount those newer teams, because they might just surprise you.
And as we can see here, that is a really good display of being able to really underestimate. Well, yeah, no, they really.
Yeah,
One
no, don't
second, let
like
me try to reword
underestimate
that.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, don't underestimate them. Yeah, I knew what I was trying to say, but I think my
Yeah.
brain just kind of said it a little bit.
Yeah, all good, all good. We will be wrapping up this set here on Rainmaker, Undertow, Spillway. I feel like this is a fairly thematic set of 3 maps here overall. They all have these core areas of the map that you typically have a solid amount of control under. Again, like I mentioned earlier, on Mako, you have those stacks in your favor. In Manta, you have your plat, you have your bunker, and in Undertow, you do have some snipe areas, you do have some corners of the map that typically play a bit more in your favor. Everything's like neatly divided up. There's a very clear left and right side, or maybe in some cases top and bottom side. So entering this next and final match here of our round 2 set, I'm going to be interested to see how Ewfish maybe adapts to what they saw. I think that, honestly, maybe having that backlist comp might have been a bit more in their favor, just by them all being able to play up a bit more consistently. the bow pick may have not been as much in their favor as they would have liked it to have been, with the maybe reduced paint, or maybe the objects that the bow puts out, such as the crayons and whatnot, maybe not working out as much in their favor as they would have liked. But yeah, I'm looking to see how both teams adapt, because even Market Mayhem might do something a bit surprising here in their own right.
I have a question actually. When you
Yeah.
play on Rainmaker Undertow, what would you say would be the best route to really get that effective push in that the team wants?
I think typically you're always going to want to have that left push with the ramp in your favor. Ideally, that's always the more comfortable one. On the right side, you're always going to be competing against the other team to try to make sure they're down or staggered just enough where they can't properly defend it, even though it's right up by their spawn, essentially. So, looking here into this next match, I think where Ewfish might be able to shine a little bit is maybe a bit more comfortably make a right push happen, depending on how they play this out. We do see an interesting blob pick actually come out from their side, so I don't really know what to expect actually.
I honestly think that blob can be really good on this map, especially if you have the right positioning. Considering the lobs can really bounce off of a lot of things on this map, you can really damage the enemy team by accident. Get the I shouldn't say by accident, but a lot of the time in the experience of playing blob, those lobs can really take people out. But as we can see, Ewfish, I don't know, I'm too British for this. Ewfish takes checkpoint 1 going towards the right side, surprisingly.
Yeah, no, they do, and it's kind of like what I mentioned earlier. If you have that window of opportunity where you can get members of the other team down fast enough and also move fast enough yourself, like, honestly, going right might not be the worst idea. At least at this point in the game, it's all about getting that checkpoint for now. And when they had 3 down on the side of Market Mayhem, like, that really opened up that window for them to pull it off, and they did. And now we do see them trying to make the left play happen. So far, nothing really working out a bit too comfortably for them. However, despite that all, Market Mayhem's still mostly backed up with just the decap attempting to make something happen a bit more close range, with members of Market Mayhem slowly trickling out kind of one by one generally, dropping off the plat. And that will provide Ewfish the opportunity here to push up yet again and probably get some more points a bit more comfortably on the board. Oh, as I say that, the Wiper taking a crazy flank there actually on the Rainmaker and stalling out the push yet again, so we might be hanging out in this left corner for a bit longer than you'd expect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, anything can happen, especially if you're pushing that left side of the stage, considering you really have to push yourself forward to get around the area of the ground that's, let's say, typically not very walkable. Well, swimmable, yeah. You can't swim through it, so you have to really push yourself to get across that without getting taken out in the process.
For sure, for sure. But looking here again, we do see Market Mayhem sort of struggling to get the push up they need. This Jet and Stamp hopefully maybe providing it that a bit more comfortably, but the Kraken shutting down the Stamp. It's a bit all hairy right now. Like, we see both sides trying to make something happen, but they're not necessarily getting these definitive picks. Maybe some of these engagements taking a bit longer than they would necessarily like, and that provides Ewfish the opportunity to, when they're getting pushed up on, just shut them down and maybe bait them in a bit more than Market Mayhem would necessarily like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And as we can see here, that spotter shot really was just shocking, trying to figure out where to go and to get those picks. Ewfish really working on taking out everyone individually, but the decab being able to shut down that spotter shot right there to stop them getting any more kills, popping that Rainmaker, and I'm assuming, considering nobody picked it up, they might be trying to reset it and just gain more ground. And I think that can be more beneficial if you have more ground to then be able to push in instead of just trying to take the Rainmaker straight away, especially as we can see there is a major sea of orange going on the map right now.
Yeah, there is definitely that major sea of orange, and this map is kind of deceptively long if you would ask me. Especially when you have that Rainmaker kind of around your checkpoint area on the higher ramp. That's typically not something you want to necessarily push back from, because by the time that you're like actively moving up, you're only going to be just past mid, and that will provide the other team plenty of opportunities to wall you out and try to block you from your own push. So Market Mayhem trying to take this opportunity to push up, get some points on the board, and they do, but they don't necessarily get the checkpoint. They try to copy Ewfish to some extent by rushing the right, but they didn't necessarily have the picks down that they needed in order to comfortably make that happen. So I think where this final match is, like match moments, is really going to take into consideration is like if there will be a wipe of some sort, or if Market Mayhem can comfortably move up just a little bit into Ewfish's ramp.
Yeah, with 30 seconds left on the clock right now, Market Mayhem having 2 members down, their team currently respawning. Ewfish right now is just really trying to push the Rainmaker back up on that left ramp over there. Market Mayhem is still trying to work themselves forward, being able to actually take out the Rainmaker holder currently. With 10 seconds left on the clock, they really have time ticking right now to get that checkpoint taken, to get their overtime really extended if they're able to pick it up in time. 5 seconds left. The Rainmaker has been picked up by Market Mayhem, but they are, as I can tell, getting pushed back by that Kraken right there and just being denied of space to really get that checkpoint taken out, and unfortunately does get killed by, I assume that was the Blob Lobber right there, just really painting over the top of the podium right there to stop them from actually getting the frames to dunk it. And as we can see, Ewfish takes game 2 and has won the set. That was a really, really good set to watch, in my opinion, seeing quite a seasoned team and a new team really finding it out there, being very close to taking the lead, really, on game 2, but game 3, but unfortunately was not able to get that checkpoint and extended overtime with the way that they intended.
Yeah, completely agree there. And shout out to both teams for early great showing there as well, with Ewfish holding on to kind of their legacy here and looking once again to potentially get a higher bracket placement in line with what they've also recently gotten. And Market Mayhem really showing that, hey, like we may be a newer team, but you shouldn't necessarily discount us just because of that. So uh, like before, going to be looking forward to what both teams accomplish as this tourney goes on throughout our afternoon here. But in the meantime, I believe we're going to go on a short break as we prepare our round 3 match. So see you then.